Native Care Baron. Cooperative extension. Right. 20271 1331. Thank you. Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and start. Welcome everyone to the Representative Town Hall meeting. Today is Friday, March the 10th. The meetings, as you may know, are put on by the Anthem Community Council and Friends of Daisy Mountain Trails. And my name is Vivian Decker, and with Friends of Daisy Mountain Trails. And at the controls today is the Anthem Community Council Communications Director, John Safin. Okay, the first thing I'll do today is I'm going to introduce Ann Hutchins and let her do the screen share for her community report.
Morning, everybody. It's getting busier up here. So at the top, as the usual, various resources. This will be posted on the Friends of Daisy Mountain, as it always is. Reminded I-17 improvement project, lunch at New River Senior Center. Just call them a day ahead of time. It's amazing service that they also have food bank there one day a week too. So City of Phoenix has a community survey going on, and I don't know if you even have to be a Phoenix resident, but you know, the more feedback an organization get, the better they can serve. Somebody will probably report the Small Business Saturday Community Market every Saturday. There's the Gem and Minerals Show is going on this weekend, and so that should be exciting. I want to go to that one. There's things going on at the New River Kiwanis Park. Care for Care Packages, they need help. She's phenomenal what they've been able to do. Kiwanis Club of Greater Anthem area is meeting the 2nd and 4th Tuesday. It's in person, or you can attend Zoom. They've been very active now at Canyon School, New River School, and doing a lot of other community projects. Always could use more people. The Rio Vista Planning Meeting, I didn't realize that, but that is virtual now. So that's the neighbor right across I-17, Phoenix. You can see what some of the things going on there. The Anthem Community Council Board. Phoenix District 1, she had a great meeting at the Auto Museum on Thunderbird. If anybody's never seen that, it's 170 cars, just incredible. I have pictures if anybody wants to see them. But the next meeting's at Metro Center, and it's a breakfast, free breakfast, and learn. And I raise concerns sometimes, like the lack of Phoenix fire station and police station up in our area. The Farm City breakfast, they're having one. I'm trying to get it confirmed that Bill Gates will be there, but I'm soon it will. I'll change this if that's wrong. Then lots of the usual meetings, the next 3 or 4 are study. And then this was sent by Maricopa. Vivian shared it with me, a green waste drop-off events. It's free. Look at all the dates at the Cave Creek transfer station. So, but don't mix your green waste with all the other trash, dirt. This again will be posted on the Friends of Daisy Mountain. It is getting to be wildfire, as Vivian mentioned, not only chamomile, but all the other grasses. The fire folks that I've talked to, they're mostly worried about grass fires. So anything you can do to make your home a little bit more fire safe. Lots of hints on this from Firewise. And that's it. Anybody have any questions?
No. Well, thank you, Ann. I appreciate that. Lots of information. Okay, I'm going to put it on over to John for any updates that are going on in Anthem.
Good morning, everybody. And yes, we do have quite a few things happening in Anthem. We're going to stick to just 3 really important things that are coming up or that are active right now. The first one is this Sunday, March 12th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the community park. We've got Market in the Park. So if you want to spend a morning and early afternoon shopping out in the great outdoors in one of the most beautiful parks in all of Arizona, this is the place to come do it. Because nothing says I love shopping more than being out in the sun and with a whole bunch of friends. We have Anthem Days coming up, March 25th and 26th. Another exciting, fun, thrilled, action-packed, bring attention to Arizona, Anthem businesses will be there. Plus the carnival starts on that Thursday. So where else in Anthem are you going to be able to get food on a stick and enjoy carnival rides while learning about all the local businesses as well? And then finally, if you know anybody who has high school students, the Jim Martin STEM Scholarship Fund application is open. So we certainly encourage all the eligible high school students to apply for this $1,000 scholarship, and we're giving away 2 of them, or awarding 2 of them. All this and more is found on anthemonline.com. So thanks everybody for joining us today, and Vivian, back to you.
Okay, thank you, John. Yes, all this information, anything to do with Ann's community report, is on daisymountain.org. And you can go to our website and look up PDFs of even past speakers. When they send in their PDFs, we put that so you can get to the link on those, along with all of Ann's information and links. And like John said, you can also go to online@anthem.com for all the updates on what's going on in Anthem. Our next meeting on April 14th, the speaker is going to have to be announced. We're still in the process of working on our next speaker for next month. And before I introduce today's speaker, you should all have been muted, and we ask that questions for our speaker be placed in chat. You can put them to myself. And after Aaron does his presentation, as time permits, we will address those questions. Without further ado, Aaron Baker is the Executive Director of Anthem Community Council. Aaron started with the Anthem Community Council in December of 2021. Prior to that, he spent 16 years in local government in Utah and Nevada. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, Aaron Baker.
Thank you, Vivian. Appreciate that introduction very much. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'll make sure the technology is working there. And let me share my screen as well here in just a second. Just initially wanted to say thank you very much for this opportunity. I often participate in these webinars. I don't usually say much, but I do try to watch just because I appreciate the speakers that you have and the spectrum of speakers. You have great group of people, lots of good information there available. So thank you. Hopefully I don't disappoint today. With that, let me share my screen. Okay, perfect. It looks like you can see my screen. Can you see my presentation? It says Anthem Community Council. Okay, good. We made that technological handoff. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, as Vivian mentioned, I've been with Anthem Community Council about a year and a half now, and it's been a great experience to be here and see a community. My experience is in local government, and so coming to Anthem, there are a lot of similarities, but there are also some things that are dissimilar, and there are a lot of things I enjoy about Anthem that you don't enjoy within local government, like the speed with which you're able to get things done is a lot faster here, and it's great because you can be responsive to residents and their desires in a much more expeditious fashion. Then, hey, let's hold a public meeting on that. We'll have a couple public hearings. We'll send it out for public comment, and it can take months sometimes to resolve something that really should just take a decision. So, with that, I want to give you a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So we'll give a little bit of an intro of Anthem and what Anthem is and what it's also not. Important to remember, talk about our facilities that we have, the events and programs that go on here, the region, talk about some of the issues in the region and how that impacts Anthem, then just kind of do a wrap up, and then we'll take some questions at the end. So with that, this is our lovely civic building where I'm located, where John is located as well, each day. So with that, let's start off. Let's talk a little bit about Anthem. So Anthem was founded in 1999 by Del Webb, and it's about 10,000 homes for those who aren't aware. Initial build out was in 2008, and then later the developer, Pulte Homes, who acquired Del Webb, added Circle Mountain, another development in there, and it's a great mix of residential, commercial, office, and industrial and public uses. So I just have a quick blurb here that I like to read because it really kind of helps set the tone for what Anthem is. It says, Anthem is a master planned community because it's self-contained and self-sustaining, allowing residents to share common resources and contribute to the common good of the community and region. Del Webb's design philosophy can be seen in every detail in Anthem, from the width of the streets to the type of landscaping options, high number of recreational amenities to preset purposes of commercial plazas. After initial build out, governance of the community was turned over to an executive staff and homeowner-led board of directors to carry out Del Webb's master plan. Now that group of board of directors and employees is now known as the Anthem Community Council. So a couple of things in there to be aware of is, one, Anthem is not a city. Often we have residents say, hey, what about this or that? For example, what about police force or the police or fire? We partner with our regional partners for those, as you well know. But there's some other things that we can't do. We can't create regulation about things that we don't have authority to create regulations about. So if we wanted, sometimes people say, I want an ordinance about this, or can you pass a law about this? The answer is generally no. If it's outside the scope of our authority, then we can't touch it. It would be a good idea, and we say, hey, please talk to the city of Phoenix or the county about some of those things. But we do have a limited scope of what we can try to accomplish based on our chartering documents there. So not a city, but a master plan community. And as I mentioned, we have a 7-member board of directors. The chair right now is Darren Frankham. Carolyn Hiron is the vice chair. Celeste Reddy's the secretary. Doug Sutherland's the treasurer. Gina Richard, Barb Patterson, and Bob McKenzie are the remaining board members. We also have elections going on right now. I believe they conclude this evening at midnight. There are 2 seats, one for Country Club and one for Parkside. And Doug Sutherland, our treasurer, is not running for re-election. Doug has done a yeoman's job, lots of work, and I think he wants to now relax for a few years. So appreciate that. But that's a little bit about Anthem there from a kind of a governance point of view. But let's talk about Anthem by the numbers. These I found really interesting. And I'll make sure that Vivian gets this so that you folks can see these as well. But there are 5,920 acres of land within Anthem. That translates to a little bit less than 10 square miles of land. So it's the size of a city, 15 miles of walking, biking, and trails, 60 acres of turf. Now this is turf or trails that the ACC maintains. 350 acres of desert area. Now the 1,400 acres of protected washes and open space. There we have a designation called natural areas and open space. And these are areas that we can do very limited activities in. And often we have people ask us questions about these. So these are the washes, and you see these in kind of a pristine natural condition. And it's that way on purpose. When Anthem was set up, the governing document said, hey, you need to leave these areas alone. And so generally, unless there's a safety hazard there or foreign material, like if someone parked a car down there or something, left something there, or garbage, usually we can't go in and manicure or cultivate those areas. Often residents will say, oh, I don't like this bush behind my house, it's ugly. Like, I'm sorry, that's in a natural area or open space. We can't touch that. This needs to remain in its pristine condition. We have over 20,000 trees, and we work with our partner DLC. They do our landscaping, and they do a great job. They have an inventory of all of our trees. It's incredible to see. And then we have 4.4 million square feet of common walls and view fences. Now, these are on the backside usually of subdivisions that surround the areas, surround the subdivisions. And that's a lot of square footage of area to maintain on those walls. They're painted on a rotating schedule. So who is Anthem? Well, approximately 27,000 residents live in Anthem. The median household income's a little higher than $86,000. Median age is about 40.7, which is a little older. Most communities tend to trend in the low 30s, depending. For 2022, the average home price is approximately $600,000. We have 10,308 homes to be exact, 2 senior living communities, and nearly 300 store-fronted businesses. Now, those don't count home-based businesses, which we don't track that same way. So those are storefronts right there. And just to kind of give a general sense of geography, as you well know, 32 miles from downtown Phoenix, 120 miles to Flagstaff. But as we also know, the city creeps closer every day. Phoenix grows, and so that 32 miles feels a lot shorter sometimes. Within Anthem, now we are what's called the Anthem Community Council. We'll talk about some of the duties the council has, but we also have 3 HOAs. First is the country club. They have golf courses, their own swimming pool and clubhouses, and they're responsible for the area behind their gates. So what that means is streets, improvements in those areas. Country club, as an HOA, maintains. Outside the gates, I use that term, Parkside, some of the other areas, the general streets, those are maintained either by City of Phoenix or Maricopa County. And those are, in talking with Margaret Troyer, the community manager there, I think that's probably the biggest concern she has at times is making sure those streets stay nice in perpetuity and not letting them deteriorate. Parkside, they have small pocket parks and playgrounds, and they are responsible for the areas inside a neighborhood, like a pocket park or other common areas that are there. They take care of those little areas here and there. And then finally, the village. They're a small condo development, and they have their own swimming pool and workout area. But they kind of a little bit of a self-contained unit, and they actually pay a smaller percentage of the assessment, the ACC assessment, than Country Club or Parkside, because they maintain their stuff within their fence completely. There's no ACC assistance there, so it's a little different construct even there. But this graphic, I love to show this graphic because I think it does a great job of showing who does what. And this graphic is available on our website as well. As you can see right here, ACC is in blue and HOA is in yellow. So often we'll get questions about who does what. So we'll start with, we'll follow the money. How's that sound? Assessments are actually collected by the ACC, but then we distribute to ACC and to the respective HOAs. From there, it breaks down into responsibilities. As you can see within the ACC, we have a variety of facilities and maintenance responsibilities throughout the community, not necessarily within individual neighborhoods. A lot of the amenities you enjoy are maintained by the ACC. Then you look at the homeowners association, they have neighborhood parks, they have gates, transponders, HOA budgets. They actually do the board elections. The ACC doesn't do any of the elections. And they do a lot of maintenance things within their neighborhoods, and a lot of the residential work that happens of working with residents and their concerns of, hey, my neighbor's weeds are growing too tall. That's actually an HOA thing. That's not an ACC thing. So, Anthem facilities. So I think these are what people most often see and are familiar with when it comes to the ACC. And these are a gem. These really, truly are. So I'll walk through here, talk about a few of these. There are more than I could list right here, but I thought I'd put these up as kind of a starting point. Our community center, I think, is probably one of the greatest benefits that residents have living here in Anthem. It's a facility that offers programming, pools, classes, activities, all sorts of different things that you can do in that community center. And that's only open to residents who pay their assessments. Now, residents can bring guests, but guests have to pay at a higher rate in order to participate in the community center activities there. Now, the community park, which I think everyone's pretty familiar with as well, that's open to the public. We don't have a fence up. We don't board, check IDs or anything like that for people to be able to come in and use that park facility there. Now, within the park, there are some improvements that it's a little different. For example, our skate and ride park. Now, I know some of you may be interested in that. If you want to get on your skateboard or your rollerblades and come and play in the park there. For residents, that access to that amenity is included in their assessment. For non-residents, they are allowed to use that facility as well, but they need to either buy a day or monthly pass. It's $3 a day or $25 a month in order to be able to access that if you don't live in Anthem. So that is an amenity that we have that you can use even if you're a non-resident, but you do need to pay there. But there are other things within the park, like the train. We have a private operator do that, but that's available to all. Also, we have a lot of youth leagues and activities. We'll talk about those in a few minutes that are available there as well. Pool and water park. This is another iconic area and view of Anthem that a lot of people are familiar with. And in fact, recently, just last year, we updated our iconic red bucket. I think a lot of people see that as they drive along the street there. It had faded, it was rusting out in the bottom. We said, hey, I think for everyone's best interest and safety, we'll go ahead and replace that. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's really iconic. But we went ahead and did that. But that will be opening in late May. We do a soft opening, and then we run through the summer on that water park, and then a few select dates once school starts, like weekends and holidays. We try to have that available, but that's a lot of fun, and a lot of families like to bring their extended family and friends from other communities there as well. And like I said, that's an option available to them. Again, just having to pay for those non-residents to be able to participate in that. We also run a swim program there, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. But a great opportunity for a lot of fun things there. A dog park, which was new to me. Previous communities I've lived in didn't have something as nice as this. Usually it was people having their dogs just run around their backyard. But this is a great amenity available to residents. It's not open to non-residents right now, but it's a great area for people to get their dogs out, let them run around, and have a good time. Civic building. This is kind of our city hall, where people are able to take care of their business with both the ACC and the HOAs. Within the second story of the building, we house Parkside and Country Club, so that residents have an opportunity when they come in to interact with all the organizations they need to. The village, their management association is located off-site, but they certainly are welcome to use our facilities as well here in the civic building. We hold some other programming and activities. Our monthly ACC board meetings are held here as well. So it's, like I said, it's much like a city hall, but we also have a business center and kind of a lounge area where people can come get coffee and water and use it for meeting space. In fact, rooms are available to rent. If people would like to hold a meeting, let's say you have 50 of your friends that you want to get together and talk about something and you want a space, residents can come in and lease that space. And we have a variety of rooms and TVs and technology and whiteboards, all that kind of good stuff. So that's available. Another facility that I didn't have a bubble for, but I want to make sure I mention is the Anthem Veterans Memorial. What a gem there. When I moved here, I was really impressed by the Veterans Memorial. And just the thought and design, the technology that went into making that possibility, absolutely amazing. One of a kind in the world, truly. As a point of interest, in this month's board meeting, we will have a presentation regarding some information. Some residents are interested in trying to expand the memorial and increase the number of paver spaces available, not change the pillars there, but just expanding the circle there to allow the recognition of more individuals as time goes on. So that will be in at the March meeting, but an absolute treasure there, and appreciate those. We'll bring that to pass. All right, events and programs. Again, this is a treat. I think this next quote, as I was putting together this presentation, I remember this quote. I can't remember who said it, but I thought it was great. Boredom is a choice. If you live in Anthem or even in the surrounding areas, if you're bored, that's because you're choosing to be so. Anthem has so many things available to residents. It is mind-boggling to me. So as you sit around, you say, what to do? How can I engage? What can I entertain myself with? Or what can I share with my friends or family as they visit? What's available out there? I thought I would just list on that. On the top are a few of our events, and on the bottom are just a few of our activities and programs there. But I thought I'd walk through and highlight just a couple. First, at the end of this month, we have Anthem Days coming up, which is a great opportunity. We have booths, we have vendor booths there. We have all sorts of games and activities. We have a carnival that will be there as well before on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday they'll be there as well. Set up and ride rides, have a good time with your family. As John said, I think you can eat food on a stick, I think is what he said. Just a great opportunity, open to all. Anyone in the region is welcome to come and participate in Anthem Days. Then we have our Music in May, again, an activity that's open to all, but Anthem will bring in a number of bands, and each Friday night, a different band or even a different type of music comes and plays. We have food trucks. It's just a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity to relax on a cool summer night. So I enjoy those. Go Green. This is an event that's open only to Anthem residents, but I want to make sure that you're aware of it, just because it shows the commitment of the contractors and the vendors that we work with. We have absolutely fantastic partners. Our waste management partners on this one help. It's Republic. They put this together and really help coordinate the proper disposal of things like paint, gasoline, batteries, prescription drugs. If you want to get rid of it, there's the place to get rid of it at this event. It's really marvelous. I've seen people come in with old mattresses. I've seen them come in with printers, anything and everything. They'll have a station there for you to drop it off, and it can be recycled or disposed of properly. They're gonna have that there. Autumn Fest is a fun event that happens in the fall. That's a picture of our pumpkin patch that we have there, where people can come get a pumpkin for their families. But again, the vendor booths and other activities, it's a lot of fun. Very enjoyable for families there. On the programming and classes side, we have classes that I didn't even know we had. We have your traditional, yoga, exercise, aerobics, things like that. But then we have synchronized swimming, which I didn't know. We had classes for until the last few months. We started that. Sword fit, which is you get to use swords. They're not real swords, but they're pen swords. And you practice sword fighting as a form of exercise. And I thought that sounds great. It'd be a great stress reliever. We had a kickball league that we organized as well. And then a Peloton class available as well. Then that's kind of more on the adult side. On the kids side, we have a number of youth leagues, and we partner with a number of leagues as well to do this, like High Desert Little League or Core 5, offering flag football, soccer, baseball, you name it. Those types of leagues are available for the kids, and those leagues are open that are run by private parties. Those are open to anyone in the region to participate in. We have aquatics as well. We have a swim team. Do a number of swim classes, training there, a dive team as well, just a really complete spectrum of aquatics programs. And then we have senior activities. We do a lot of card games, Mexican train, and just a number of other things the groups put together. And a lot of that based out of this building, the Civic Building, but a lot of fun again. So it's kind of, and a few events I forgot to mention is we have Martin Luther King Day celebration and Unity Walk. We also have an Independence Day celebration that goes on as well. We have our ceremonies at the AVM. We have also a monster ball and daddy-daughter dances at the community center. I went to the daddy-daughter dance this year for Valentine's Day with 2 of my daughters and had a blast. That was a really good experience there with them. But that's just a little bit of what's available. But the way to really find this out is to actually get a hold of an activity guide. So every other month, Anthem publishes this activity guide, as you can see right here. This is the most current one. This is March 2023. You can pick this up at the community center. The activity guide holds all these activities. You can look on our website and see it. You can go on social media. We'll talk about our activities. We do email blasts. So if you're not aware of what's going on, I almost feel like it's a choice at times, because there's so many ways for folks to know and get it the way they would like it to learn about these. But a lot of fun, a lot of great activities there. So that's where to find out what's going on. All right, let's shift gears here a little bit and talk about the region. And what I mean by the region and why I picked this picture is I feel like it's a little bit of a symphony. There are a lot of things going on around us, and trying to coordinate these pieces and trying to make sure things work for the best and that it works out well. It sounds beautiful. So with that, I'll just say TSMC, everyone's aware of. Certainly a boon to our region, creates jobs, wonderful economic opportunities for families, growth here in Phoenix, a positive in many ways. It also creates a lot of pressure on Anthem. And I have a couple of points I just wanted to talk about as we talk about this. Growth is moving north at a faster rate than ever before. I've only been in Anthem about 1.5 years, but when I talk to longtime residents, they talk about having to go to the Walmart in Peoria to get their food. They said, oh, I bring cold bags and I drive down there and pick up my food down there. Or driving a 2-lane interstate down into Phoenix, down into town, is the phrase I've heard sometimes from folks. And I think about it today and I'm like, oh, that's it's more like the Autobahn today than a 2-lane road. So definitely some changes there, and that growth is coming faster and faster. It's great for Anthem businesses, and it's good for home values. This pressure certainly provides more customers for businesses. They can succeed more. They have a stronger and a broader base. Home values certainly look healthy and strong. As you saw, average home value almost $600,000 last year. But also creates challenges for Anthem as well as people observe what's going on. There are more people. It's more traffic. There's pressure on amenities and usage of facilities there, unlike before, because the rates are changing. In particular, the residential growth. One of the challenges we're running into is a lot of these new developments are developing small little parkettes, or some of their amenities aren't at the same standards that Anthem's amenities are. So they look and say, oh, I'll just go use the large community park for my events because my little parkette in my new neighborhood isn't big enough. And so that just creates pressure on Anthem to be able to provide not only for the residents, our primary concern, but then we have other people from outside the area using it. And so trying to manage that expectation and work with our partners in the region to say, hey, as new development comes in, we need to make sure that you're developing appropriate amenities for them as well, so they can use that and they don't look over the fence and want to use ours. Also, new developments challenge Anthem's position as a premier community to live in. So that creates stress on us to stay current and make sure what our offerings are and the things we're doing are interesting and attractive, and make it so that people want to live here, so that helps keep home values high and attractive as well. So we need to stay current in that sense. Incident to some of this is age as well. So as Anthem has now turned 20, some of our infrastructure is aging, and we're having to start to address some of those initial concerns that we never thought about needing to address, and making sure that our budgets and our plans and our efforts are staying on top of that, staying ahead of the curve, which we are. I appreciate it. We have a wonderful staff, especially on the maintenance side, that they work to make sure that we're ahead of this. But it's becoming more and more real. As things age, you have to replace them, making sure that we have funds and a program in place to make sure we're doing that systematically and consistently across the board. So those are some of the challenges, and TSMC is just kind of the typification of that challenge that we have right there. All right, just in conclusion, just wanted to kind of wrap things up and just say, as we kind of talked about Anthem by the numbers, so you kind of get a sense that it's a good sized community with a spectrum of residents who live here. It's not just, you don't have a typical, I don't think you have a typical Anthem resident really. Our governance structure is a little different because we're not a city, but we still have a board, and they do have responsibilities that they try to fulfill in their monthly board meetings. And I appreciate them and their efforts very much. It's difficult being elected officials. Some of you have served in that capacity. Facilities, we have some of the most beautiful and attractive, and that is wonderful, but it also creates an attractive nuisance or an attraction to other people coming from outside the area and wanting to participate. Events and programs are unlike any others. And again, the region, just as it's changing how Anthem has to think about itself and how we have to work with others in the area. So although there are changes going on, I will say, I believe firmly that Anthem's in a good place to respond to the growth, continue to provide excellent services to the residents, and remain the premier community in the North Valley. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. It looks like we have a few up here in the chat. So I will take those. Let's see. Our tires, let me see right here. Our tires accepted the Go Green event. Roger, is that Roger Willis who asked that question? I will find out if tires are accepted the Go Green event or not. It looks like John put a link here as well, so that may answer your question.
Right, John did put a link
But
in.
we can certainly check it.
Yeah, John did put a link in the chat. Aaron, we did have one question come to us by way of email a couple of days ago, and this is in regards to the fence that is being put up on Meridian Drive, and that is being put up by ADOT, I do believe, Maricopa County, McDOT. And
yeah, McDOT, yep.
Right, and this came from a country club resident, and she's curious to know if anything's going to be done about the new fencing that's been constructed on Meridian. There are sections where it's not straight, and frankly, it looks very unprofessional. It appears that they just took two pieces of railing and stuck them inside a pipe, and consequently are not straight in some places. So do you want to go ahead and take that one?
Yep. Happy to answer that. From what I understand, McDOT is continuing to work on that project. They volunteered to do that project in order to help cut down on off-highway vehicles cutting through that area. So they're trying to solve some of the access or inappropriate access, I should say, that goes on through that area by ATVers and others by installing a little heavier fence through there, because they realize the barbed wire that runs around the outside, people often just cut. It's really interesting to see. We saw a picture the other week of someone, they had a battery powered angle grinder, and they cut a lock off of a fence and just drove right through. Didn't even bother them, even though they weren't supposed to be riding on that area. They said, well, I've got my tools and I want to go through, therefore I will go through. And so McDOT's just trying to help address some of those things. They appreciate them doing that, and they are working on that. That's not complete yet, but very grateful for their efforts.
Yes, and we're grateful too out here in Desert Hills, because I live off of Desert Hills Drive, and when those ATVers go through Anthem, you know, up and down the streets or into that property, what they do is they drop down into Skunk Creek, and Skunk Creek goes right across Desert Hills Drive, and I swear this is the truth. I had one of those ATVers run ride right in front of me. I had to slam on brakes because they're not looking for traffic. So it is something that's good that the county is looking into that and trying to take care of that problem, which presents the problem that Anthem has, being that you're not a city. You have to rely on the county and state and the city of Phoenix also for your help on this.
Yep, and to their credit, I want to make sure I say this right up front. I really appreciate the partnerships we've had with them. They've been great partners in this. Coming from local government, I'm used to trying to solve these with the tools that you have as a local government. And coming here, like I said, realizing I didn't have some of those tools, so I've reached out to those people who do those things and said, hey, can you help us with this? And in every case, without exception, they've been like, yeah, absolutely, we'll help you and we'll do what we can. We'll fulfill our roles and responsibilities here to help Anthem. And so it's been a marvelous experience, especially on the public safety side. They've been really good partners there to help us in that. One other thing I'd be remiss if I didn't say, talk about these great amenities, these programs, and everything that goes on in Anthem. I want to acknowledge the employees. We have a fantastic team of employees who work day in and day out and care about this community and want the very best for Anthem. And we would not be the premier community that we are without them. And so I want to acknowledge them and their efforts and all that they do to help make Anthem the wonderful place to live that it is. So
that's great. That is great. Another real quick question: the skate park. You said that non-residents can use the skate park, but they can buy a pass. Where would you go about buying a pass to utilize that skate park?
So I'm sure, Vivian, you're asking for a friend, not for yourself, right? Okay, so asking for a friend. So as you come up to the booth right there, actually, you can just pull out your phone and you scan a QR code that's there, and you go online and you pay online. Right there, you can buy the monthly pass or you can pay the daily usage fee. We do ask first-time users, they are required to fill a little bit of information about themselves so we know who's in there. Because that's one of the questions we certainly track who the residents are. And so we've had some issues in the past with non-residents and who they are. So as they register for the first time, we say, will you please fill out this information? So we ask for their name, phone number, some other basic information about them, where they're from, their address. So that helps us also do some analysis to see, okay, how far are people traveling to come here and use this facility as well. But that's worked out very well. If people don't have a phone, they don't have cash. If they don't have a phone and they only have cash, they can just go over to the community center, pay their $3, and then we'll go back over to the skate park and participate in the activities there.
Okay. No, I got rid of my rollerblades and all my protective clothing years ago, Aaron, years ago. Okay. We also have another question. Who approves and regulates the senior homes in the private residences?
So generally those, I haven't dealt with those here in Anthem, but I can say generally speaking, based on my experience, that's either the municipality that regulates those types of things or the state for health reasons. So I can check on that question just to be double sure on that. But usually it's the city if they even have to get a permit or approval from the city, because some cities will just allow it by right and not regulate them. So that's a great question, but I'll have to get a firm answer on that.
Yeah, and that I would assume is being that you're underneath the county jurisdiction on that. So I don't know. That is a very good question.
Yeah, the county does have some ordinances. They changed them recently. I don't have them memorized. And it also depends how many people are in that group home.
Right.
If it's at X number, then all kinds of health regulations kick in. But the county has extensive ordinances on it.
Thank you, Anne. Okay. Also, another real quick footnote on that new fencing that's going up. I actually do know for a fact that it's supposed to be also painted, so it will not just stay the galvanized steel. It's supposed to be like a shade of brown after it's all complete. So, and also John put in the Go Green info is at the online at anthem.com/events/Go Green PHP. So you can get information on that. So I guess just go to the online at anthem.com. Okay, was there any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Okay.
I put a pitch in at Anthem Days. Quite a few nonprofits will be there. Some like Rotary there, and at their beer garden, all the proceeds go to their foundation that gives out grants to the community. Kiwanis will be there. And I don't know what other nonprofits, but yeah, support them too.
Right, and maybe.
Oh, I know the Chamber of Commerce will be there. So if you want to find out between all the businesses and the nonprofits, that's a great place to go to find out what's happening.
Right. Well, thank you, Ann. Also coming up in April is the Arizona Gives Day, correct? For you to give.
Thank you. Yes, April 4th. Support. It's a statewide event over, I don't know, there's close to 1,000 nonprofits participating, but it's to highlight the importance that nonprofits of all types contribute to Arizona. And so we ask you to support. Of course, I'm with Black Canyon Heritage Park, so I hope you check out that. It's one of the few riparian parks, but and, you know, there's also, I think, Pro Musica. There's a lot of different nonprofits that participate in that. And any amount is always appreciated by all of them.
Yep. So, okay, well, I don't see any more questions in the chat, Erin. I want to say thank you for your presentation, though. It's very informative. And yes, if you could send that PDF to me, and I can, that would be at Daisy Mountain at Gmail, Daisy Mountain Trails at Gmail. I'll get you that information, but yes, and we'll make sure that we get that information up, that PDF.
Perfect. Happy to do it. Again, appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about Anthem, what we're working on.
Okay, well, I'd like to say thank you again to Erin Baker for joining us today, and reminder of our website says daisymountain.org for future meeting speakers and community links, and also online at Anthem for community news and the community calendar. I also like to say thank you, John, for running the meeting today, and I appreciate you. And yes, and being that I didn't see any more questions, I would like to say thank you everyone for joining us today. Stay safe out there and see you next month, I hope. Bye now.